Hello everyone, my name is Zenitsu, and I'm back with another episode of Road to Revival. So this week we got a couple of pretty powerful and interesting cards, so let's just dive right in. First we have Evolution Future. So it's a Dragon World 100 Demon spell, and it has a counter ability. During your turn, if a monster with Drum or Yamigeto in its name is on your field, you can put this card into the soul of a monster on your field. Doesn't necessarily have to be them. Most of the time it probably is. But regardless, you can put this into the soul of a monster on your field, and if you do, draw a card. Just already pretty simple. Being able to add a soul at counter speed is pretty decent. And then it has another counteract ability. During the attack on your opponent's turn, if this card is in the soul of a monster, you could pay 1 gauge. If you do, nullify the attack and deal 1 damage to the opponent. And you can only use this ability once per turn, but obviously if you have multiple of these, then they do stack and you could use it technically multiple times. So it is a soft once per turn. But regardless, the fact that it is adding some extra built-in defense options on top of drawing you a card and burning the opponent is pretty good. I can already see a lot of uses for this in Drum Bunker decks. I don't know exactly how good this is going to be in 100 Demons, but the fact that it just says draw a card and add a soul at counter speed already is a pretty solid card, on top of its added defense utility. Next, we have Bipolar Hearts. So this is a Dragon World and Darkness Dragon World card, in which to cast it, you pay 1 life, and then it has a counter ability to call a size 2 Armor Dragon from your drop zone on top of another Armor Dragon monster on your field by paying its call cost. And then if the card called just so happens to be either a Jack, Demios, or Orcus, then that monster gets plus 30,000 power and plus 1 crit, and you can only cast this once per turn. Obviously, it's meant to go in those decks, but it's just referencing Armor Dragons, so its initial effect could be used in Armor Dragons. Pair this up with something like Eternal Rivals to set up your drop zone. Makes this a pretty easy 2-card combo tutor for basically probably your buddy. It's just looking to be a pretty solid card. The power and crit boost is also a nice addition if you're playing Jack, Demios, or Orcus, but regardless, it's just looking to be a very solid card. Next, we have Complete Next. So this is a Magic World card for Chaos and Plague, and what it does is counter for this turn. All Plague and Chaos cards on your field can't be destroyed, can't be rested, and their abilities can't be nullified by your opponent's card effects, and they get a plus 10,000 power boost. Then if a Gear God or Urnius card is on your field, you get a draw card and you can only use it once per turn. So just the fact that it is a solid protection card for decks that really were lacking the protection is pretty good, and then it is going to be drawing you a card if you have a Gear God or Urnius on the field, which most of the time you're probably going to have. It's just looking to be a very decent protection card. Next, we have probably the most powerful card revealed this week, Future Card Buddyfight. So it's a Dragon World spell that can go into all flags, which is already a pretty powerful effect. And then it has the added benefit of gaining you 2 gauge, and you could choose one of the 2 abilities, and you can only cast this once per fight. You could either search out your buddy, or if your opponent is at 5 or less life, you can search out an impact. Obviously, people are just going to search out the buddy because that's just one of the key cards of the deck. And this has some other implementations, like you could run some of the more limited cards, where if you could only have one of it in your deck, you can now basically run that as your buddy and then tutor it out. So it's just looking to be a very powerful card. It can search for any monster you want, depending on how you build the deck. And then it also has the added benefit of, at the start of your attack phase, if this card is in your buddy zone, for the turn, a buddy on your field gets plus 2 crit. Not only is it searching out your buddy monster, it's also giving them plus 2 crit. So this card is just looking to be very insane, and is probably going to be one of the best cards in the entire set, if not the best card in the entire set, just because of the implementations of searching out your buddy. And then the last card we got is the second Omni Lord Ziun Rebuddy. So now we have all of the Omni Lords basically got a Rebuddy version, but Zeon is looking to be a pretty solid card. He is a Skull Warrior, in case you want to run him in Skull Warriors. He's obviously an Omni Lord, and his call cost is pay 2 gauge and put the top card of your deck into its soul. And then this card can't be rested, and its abilities can't be nullified by the opponent's card effects, so locking the opponent out of trying to interact with him. If this card is attacking alone, your opponent can't use or cast counter effects. So again, continuing to lock the opponent out of their options. And then he has a counteract ability of his own. During the attack phase, you could pay 1 gauge. If you do, this card gets plus 100,000 power. And then he has Penetrate, Move, and Soul Guard. With 5 crit and locking the opponent out of not being able to respond to his attack is pretty solid. But what really makes him scary is the deck that he goes into, which is obviously the Omni deck, and you combine him with Variable Chord, which can give him triple attack, and that's going to be a lot of damage that the opponent just can't do anything about. He's definitely adding a lot of extra power to the new Omni deck. I don't know exactly what he's going to be doing in Skull Warriors, considering how Skull Warriors plays a little bit differently, but nonetheless, he is just a very powerful beater card and definitely something to look out for. So that's kind of all of the cards that we got this week. Yeah, Future Card Buddyfight is definitely going to be one of the best cards in the entire set and is definitely a really, really scary card to play against because it ignores limitations on cards. Yeah, that's kind of all I have for this week and this video. Feel free to tell me what you think about the cards spoiled this week in the comments down below. And as always, feel free to like and subscribe for more content, and I will see you in the next video.